Hi everybody, it's Patty Ann and I'm not here weaving today or spinning. Today I'm learning to smock. I'm using this book called The Joy of Smocking by Martha Pullen, and I'm going to try to make this little dress right to here, the 6 to 12 month size. So in this book there's a pull-out pattern that has all of the details that you need to know to make this dress. Using a Sally Stanley 24 pleater, which I absolutely love. Just using regular old sewing thread. The needles are about 1 centimeter apart. I'm not using the half space needles this time. The fabric that I'm going to use is a batiste. I've got all of the needles threaded. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Number 1 and 7 are holding needles. The other ones are where I'll be doing the actual smocking. Before I begin pleating, I need to roll my fabric up. This is the dress front onto a dowel rod. The dowel rod didn't come with the pleater. I'm just using a dowel rod that I happen to have from one of my rigid header looms. I'm going to start by rolling up the top part of the dress. These are the armhole area that are not to be cut out until after I'm done smocking. So I just begin rolling this up, and this part, this edge of the cloth will not roll onto the dowel rod. Obviously just the part where I'll be pleating. So I just begin to roll this up. And I'm basically wanting to keep this portion up here straight and neat. Oops. Okay, that's pretty well rolled up. Okay, so then I'll bring my pleater back in. Sometimes when you're getting ready to put your fabric in, it's easier to work from behind, but I'm going to try from the front first. Now what I want to do is let me get this in focus a little bit better. This is the end of my fabric, and I want to line that up with this little red string that I've put here on my pleater. So the big deal is you have to try to get this to go in very straight from the beginning. And that's the most time-consuming part. When I start, I'll look and see how it's coming out the front, and it appears to have come out pretty evenly. Let's see. So I'm going to keep it lined up with this groove now. So keeping the top edge of my cloth lined up with this groove. And in about one more turn, I'm going to take what I've done so far off the needles. Just pull this down. As you can see, the threads are there. So I'll start some more. Still making sure to keep it lined up with this groove. I'm using batiste, as I said, and not just the other day I tried using a broadcloth I'm new at this, so I was trying to use a broadcloth and see how that worked, and I really have some trouble with it getting caught, or really hard to turn the handle, the knob, to get it to pleat. But I'm not sure if it was because the cloth was heavier or because I had the half-space needles in there. I'm going to have to do a little test on that. So you need to do this slowly. Just keep it lined up. Okay, pretty good. And just roll it all the way through. Pull it down off the needles. Okay. It's just a little bit crooked. Not bad though for me as a beginner, I think. And then I'm just going to work it down the thread some. After I get down a certain length, I'll be able to just pull. There we go. The needles, it'll just come right out of the needles, and there we go. There's our smocked, or pleated, sorry, it's just pleated fabric ready to be in the smocking. I have my pleater all threaded, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll this sleeve up onto this dowel rod. And then I'm going to pleat it. 4 needles threaded. 2 of the outer needles are for the holding rows, and then the 2 inner ones will be the rows that I will be pleating. Okay, put the dowel rod through here. And I'm going to line up this far edge of the cloth right here. Now, as I said, I'm new at this. I hope I'm not making the pleat too far up the sleeve. Okay, that came out pretty evenly. So now I'm just going to roll this through. And I want to make sure that this line of the fabric stays in line with this groove on the pleater. And I need to stop in just a moment to take some of this cloth off the needles and begin again. Like that. Take the needles and pull it down on the threads. When I pull it down far enough, I'll be able to just release these threads right out of the needles. Then I'll straighten this out and tie off one of these sides. You can tie 2 ends together, 2 or 3, it says in the book. And I'll take these 2 and tie them together. And I'm going to leave this these gathering threads loose, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some lace to the edge of the sleeve. And I'd like the sleeve to be ungathered when I do that, because from what I read, that makes it a lot easier. So that lace then will be added here at the bottom of the sleeve. And as a precaution, I'll take this side and make a knot a few inches away, just as a precaution. I can probably trim off some of this excess. Okay, so what I have now is I have a sleeve. I have a second sleeve. This is the pattern that I'm going to use for my gown. It's called Sarah Joy, and it basically has the cable stitch and the 4-step trellis stitch, and then maybe some embroidered flowers, maybe some bullions. I'm not exactly sure yet. I'm going to have to research that further. But I think it'll look really pretty.